Welcome to Managing Nebraska's Public Roads and Streets Records Management. The focus of this video is managing records associated with the county roads or city street program. This is the 7th topic in a series of videos, the purpose of which is to summarize Nebraska's management of public roads and streets as directed by state law and also by rule and regulation. The target audience is county highway and city street superintendents and those aspiring to attain those positions. Elected officials and anyone interested in the management of the state's public roads and streets are also encouraged to view this. As the appointed licensed superintendent, you will likely be responsible either directly or indirectly for managing the many documents generated by the road or street department. Complete and orderly management of road and street records is essential to you, your agency, and taxpayers. A record is any material that documents a transaction, decision, or action of public business. It could be a set of design plans, right-of-way acquisition documents, a contract and interlocal agreement, a 1- and 6-year plan, a budget, map, photograph, memo, letter, meeting minutes, and so forth. Essential records are those that are critically important to the continued functioning of or rebuilding of an agency in the event of a disaster. A public record is required by law to be made and kept. It is a record made by a public officer, such as a county highway or city street superintendent, or that is filed in a public office. Examples would be deeds and easements filed in the county courthouse. Public records are information, regardless of the media on which they reside, including paper, microfilm, optical discs, CDs, DVDs, servers, computer hard drives, emails, and so forth. Records are critical to the functioning of all government agencies. Public records are paid for by taxpayers and road users. The public expects that records will be kept according to the law and retention schedules. It would be difficult to conduct daily business without a records management plan and keeping orderly, easy-to-find records. You won't be in your position forever. When you become superintendent, you likely want to inherit a good set of records. Do the same for the next superintendent. A good plan will help your agency recover from a disaster. Records management can be defined as the administrative and managerial activities related to managing records throughout their life cycle, from creation or receipt to use and maintenance of the record, and finally disposition, either preserved according to a plan or destroyed. A good records management program has direction and support from the governing body, appropriate policies and procedures in place, a good filing and indexing system so that records can be found in a reasonable amount of time, knowing what records you have, and having a plan as to when and how to dispose of records is also a key to a good records management program. Set up a procedure for dealing with records day to day so it doesn't end up being an overwhelming chore at some point. A good records management program also uses technology appropriately, is secure and cost-effective, vital records are identified and preserved accordingly, and obsolete records are destroyed on schedule. There are many benefits of a good records management program, including protection of vital records, locating information quickly, reducing the amount of space it takes to store physical records, improving the way you operate, reducing costs, improving customer relations, public trust and accountability, and reducing liability. Other public agencies likely have their own records management requirements. If your agency is doing business with them, you may be required to manage those records according to the other agency's plan. Records management is an essential task and is not optional. The Secretary of State is the keeper of records management schedules in Nebraska. The Secretary of State's website, shown on this screen, has a 90-minute tutorial that provides more detail than this presentation. The following screens will show some key records retention and disposition schedules that you need to be aware of. Schedule 24 addresses the general records of local agencies. It is currently a 16-page document covering the requirements for 86 items that are common to most local governmental agencies. Items include support for payments, employment application materials, bank records, bid and equipment procurement records, public record requests, directives, contracts and agreements, equipment operating cost records, grant documents, legal advice, meeting minutes, policy and procedures manuals, public notices, reports and studies, treasurer's deposits and receipts, vouchers, work orders, and many more items. There is a description and a designated retention period for each item. Some items are required to be sent to state archives. Schedule 22 has records management requirements for clerks of cities and villages. It is currently a 16-page document covering the requirements for 70 items grouped in 7 categories that are common to city and village clerks. The 7 categories are council and mayor's records, deed records, election records, fiscal records, petitions, miscellaneous records, and zoning records. Retention periods in this document take precedence over retention periods in Schedule 24, Local Agencies General Records. Items include resolutions, executive orders, deeds, easements, claim records, cash receipts, grant records, public safety reports, street and highway reports, sign permits, and many more items. There is a description and a designated retention period for each item. Some items are required to be sent to state archives. Schedule 17 has records management requirements for county highway superintendents, surveyors, and engineers. It is currently a 10-page document covering the requirements for 34 items grouped in 3 categories that are common in county road and surveyor operations. The 3 categories are fiscal records, miscellaneous records, and technical records. Retention periods in this document take precedence over retention periods in Schedule 24, Local Agencies General Records. Items include the 1- and 6-year plan, records of benchmarks, grading computations, gravel and rock reports, annual field inventory, vehicle operator reports, blueprints and plans, bridge books, contracts and specifications, field notebooks, right-of-way project files, road records, and other items. There is a description and a designated retention period for each item. Some items are required to be sent to state archives. This was the 7th topic in a series of videos, the purpose of which is to summarize Nebraska's management of public roads and streets as directed by state law and also by rule and regulation. It was an overview of the requirements and importance of having a good records management system.